Welcome everyone to the Client Relationship Management webinar training. The event will be delivered by Goncalo and Enrique from the Ibergrid NGI. They are the providers of the Client Relationship Management system for the EGI community. Their system has been set up 2 years ago on request from the NGI Council in order to help the EGI community track the discussions and requirements of new and emerging scientific user groups of the EGI infrastructure. And in this webinar presentation, the Ibergrid team will show you how you can use this system to track and to keep track of the different discussions that the EGI community and you in your country have with different scientific groups. My name is Gergely Sipos. I'm a Technical Outreach Manager at the EGI.eu office, and I work with Goncalo and Enrique on the fine-tuning and configuration of the CRM system based on the requirements of the NGI International Liaisons and their partners. I will give a short introduction at the beginning, and then the remaining 5 chapters will be delivered by Goncalo from Portugal. So a little bit background, why we need a CRM system in the EGI community. We know that the EGI community is quite a complex ecosystem with different projects and legal entities participating and contributing to it. You can see this in the left side with a schematic view of the EGI.eu, the NGIs, the European intergovernmental research organizations, and the various projects who all contribute to this ecosystem with services, with support, which are formalized through different memorandum of understanding and service level agreements. All these services are integrated for the benefit of multinational scientific communities that you can see on the right side of the slide. And these communities can be arranged or grouped into different levels, ranging from the individual researchers who came together to research collaborations, to different types of projects, typically European projects funded from the European Commission, to the higher level research infrastructure projects. And recently we see the emergence of a research infrastructure cluster projects that group together a number of research infrastructures from the same scientific disciplines. And we, as an EGI community, should be able to offer services to these different types of research communities in a coherent way. And to track the discussions and the service offerings that we provide for the different groups, we need to have a system that is capable of recording this information for us and sharing that information with the NGI International Liaisons and with the user community support team and other groups in the EGI.eu office. And that's why we decided to set up a client relationship management tool for the whole EGI community. And this CRM tool helps us to solve a number of issues and to deal a number of situations in EGI. First of all, the EGI ecosystem is distributed. The key stakeholders are the NGIs, the EGI.eu office, and the different projects contribute with high-level or low-level services. There are a large number of user communities that are, as we can see, are mostly driven by different scientific projects that they run within their discipline. And as you could see on the previous slide, these projects can be small at the national level to really large, to ranging to multiple countries or multiple continents sometimes. Both EGI and these projects are in continuous evolution. So even if we try to offer a set of services to a scientific grouping, we need to reopen discussions from time to time and make sure that these scientific groups are aware of the latest services, the latest technologies that EGI members can offer for them. And these conversations happen in parallel in different countries with different members of the same project, different institutes, different individuals. And what the CRM system is capable to provide us is a database where we can record information about the key target groups, the key clients of the EGI services. These are primarily our projects, such as the European S3 projects or other projects, such as standard FP7 or later Horizon 2020 projects, but also national projects that are financed and supported from national research councils. These projects obviously have member institutes in it, and those member institutes have key people who are the talk persons, the technical people typically, who can understand distributed computing and data services, and who are the right people for us to talk to about EGI offerings and configuring EGI services for their benefit. What we want the CRM to use for is to record these key clients, but most importantly, the interviews that we carry out with the people, and through these interviews, the key findings about their e-infrastructure needs and the potential offerings that EGI could make to these people, and through these people to the institutes and the projects. So the CRM enables us to record this information in a distributed way and then to summarize the information back to the higher level to find the European landscape of the distributed computing and data needs of multinational projects or even multinational communities that run different projects in parallel. What we have done so far is, besides setting up the core system, the CRM system, to record this information, the user community support team of EGI.eu kick-started this whole information gathering process by recording the institutes and the projects that are involved in the S3 roadmap of Europe. This S3 roadmap includes 30 or 40 something research infrastructures that are envisaged in Europe as the key research infrastructures of the future. And the user community support team shortlisted these research infrastructures and identified those who clearly need distributed computing services. And those projects have been registered in this CRM system, and we recorded all the member institutes that are belonging to these research projects. Each of these S3 research projects are large in terms of the number of members. A single project can have 20, 30, 40 members. So we ended up with almost 500 or 600 institutes that was registered in the first phase in the CRM system. These registrations are still there, and now we have to do the next step, identify personal contacts for these different institutes who can be or gateway to talk to these projects and make some e-infrastructure offering on behalf of EGI. And this personal contact gathering and interviewing has already started in a few NGIs, but unfortunately, we still don't have enough data registered from these interviews in the CRM system to see the European landscape and make a European level offering to these S3 projects based on the CRM information. So we need to proceed to the second and third stage, the orange and the gray stage. And today you will learn how we can do that. So the current situation, there are already more than 800 projects and institutes registered in the system. These are all potential users of EGI, but in order to turn these into active users, we need to identify personal contacts for these institutes and projects, and we need to talk to them. The CRM is not a yellow pages. We don't want to record personal information. What we need is to learn about their needs of e-infrastructures, their interest in infrastructures, and the potential use of EGI to serve those projects. So we need to focus on on identifying and interviewing key persons at these institutes who represent those S3 projects and other projects that are already registered in the CRM system. And we need to have your help in this. So what we would like the NGI international liaisons and their people in the different NGIs to do is to go to the CRM system, choose the different projects and institutes that are in your national interest. If, let's say, your country has a priority on computational chemistry, please focus on those projects that are working in this area. Then identify personal contact for these projects and institutes and interview them and record the key findings in the CRM system so we can see a European picture emerging based on this distributed data. So today you will learn how you can carry out these steps, and hopefully you will start actively working with the CRM system after this webinar. At this stage, I ask Goncalo and his colleagues to give the technical tutorial part of the presentation.
Thank you, Gerli. So good morning all. So I'm Goncalo, so working at LIP in Lisbon. So I'm deeply involved in Hypergrid. Also, I have several hats, and one of these hats is to provide a CRM system for the EGI. So I will try to focus exactly on the task that we think that NILS should try to do now. But CRM is a very wide system with a lot of possibilities, so this will be out of scope of this task, of this webinar. Okay, so let's try to focus on the technical details. So, as Gerli already said, the CRM has been set up to help coordinate and monitor the way how the outreach to the new community is done. So we are trying to make this more efficient. And for that, so basically we need to know the key findings about the needs of the potential clients that we have in our NGIs. And the CRM is a system which will help you to first store this information, and then to disseminate this information among all the partners in the project. So basically, the CRM was designed to store specific needs of several types of clients. So we have the projects and the scientific collaborations. Then we have the several institutes working under these projects, and then we have the people working under these institutes. So there are these three layers that we have to tackle. And for the CRM, so we have two kinds of entities. We have the organizations and the person contacts. So under organizations, so we will basically record information for the projects and for the scientific collaborations, and also information for the institutes working under these projects. For under the entity person contacts, we will then store the information about the individual researchers working either under these institutes or directly working under these, let's say, wider projects. So basically, the term organization in the CRM represents an entity which is of interest for the NGI or EGI.eu to contact. So, as an example, so you have identified a project or a research institute which is a potential user community for EGI. You think that EGI may have some tools or some services that is of benefit for this community. So, and you want to basically to store this information in the system so that you can then start some discussions with this organization. And what goals are we aiming for these organizations? So basically, we want to store information exactly about the projects. Okay, so which projects are out there. Then we want to store information about the institutes which are working under these projects. And then we want to capture the exact needs of these institutes, namely, what are their needs and their expectations, and what could be the potential of these institutes for EGI, and what is the interest of these institutes in infrastructures. So this is the exact topics that we want to capture for organizations. Then a contact in the CRM system, basically it's a record for a person, okay? And a person can be, let's say, a representative person of a wider community. So it can be, or it can be a single individual just in front of a research institute, or it can be even an isolated scientist which you think it's useful to record because it can, let's say, open a window for, let's say, similar people doing the same kind of activities. And the information we want to store for contacts, it's very similar to the one that we want to store for organizations. So basically, we want to identify where these persons are working. So they can be working in research institutes or in companies or in any other kind of institutes. We want to identify in which project these persons are working, and we want to capture the needs and the requirements of the community that this person represents. So again, what are their expectations? What could be the potential of this user or the community it represents for EGI, and what is the interest of this user or of the community that he represents in infrastructures. Let's talk about exactly about what is expected to be done with the system. So the CRM has already a lot of information inside. Okay, so when we set up the system, then we collaborate with EGI.eu people in order first to have information in the system, and we already have a wide list of projects and scientific collaborations introduced in the system. So we have a large set of ASH-free and ASH-free project records, a large set of infra projects, and some national and other international projects. So this is information which is already in the system. Besides that, there is also a lot of information about research institutes per NGI working under one project or working under several projects. So this information is also in the system with the correct links to the projects that the different institutes are working on. And what is really missing here, the piece which is missing here, is that we don't have a lot of person contacts. So it's very difficult to find person contacts which are working under these institutes. For example, principal investigators or representatives of the communities. So basically, we have some abstract information in the system, and we want to put faces under this abstract entity. So we want to know to which person should we talk in order to understand the needs of the communities that they represent. And basically, so what is it expected to be done? So NILS are supposed to access the system and then go through the list of research institutes assigned to their NGI, let's say, and verify the information and complete the missing fields. So this is the first step. So basically to validate the information regarding the institutes which are working under their NGI and complete the missing information. And complete the missing information means to try to capture what is the needs of these research institutes. Basically to capture what is the interest in the infrastructures of these institutes and what could be the potential of these research institutes for EGI. The second step is to find key persons, contacts, which are working under these institutes, and then to capture the same kind of needs. So what could be the interest in the infrastructure of these persons, and what could be the potential of these persons for EGI. And then in the first step, so basically, whenever there is a new project that you are aware, or a new research institute, or a new person contact that is not in the system, so basically we ask you simply to add this new item to the system. I'll try to give a brief technical explanation of how can this be done. So let's go to the section working with CRM, and let's talk about the access and login. So basically, the access and login is the authentication is performed through EGI SSO, okay? But the access is not automatic. So not everyone in EGI with a valid SSO has access to the CRM. So the CRM administrators must enable the access at request. And at this point, all NILS should have already access. So we are quite sure that all NILS at this point have already access to the system. But sometimes NILS may have to delegate this responsibility or this task to someone else. And so NILS can ask for the inclusion of other actors. And if NILS asks us to include or to give permission to access the system for some other actors, so NILS just have to send us an email and we will open access to the system for this person. So basically NILS for us are, let's say, a network of trust. They form a network of trust. So if a NIL asks us to give access to someone else, we will do it. So the portal or the system, so it's available under that HTTPS link, crm.egi.eu. And basically what you have to introduce is your EGI SSO ID and your EGI SSO password. And once you do that and you are authenticated, so you go to your home page. And your home page, it's a page like this one. So this is a snapshot for Portugal. Let's say my home page, because I'm also a NIL in the system. And this home page is customized for you. So basically, it will present information which only addresses your NGI. So let's try to explain what is shown in that home page. The most relevant things are these two graphics, which I will explain in a bit detail here. So the circulary graphics, the ones shown on the graph on the left, show you the, let's say, the number of items in the systems which have incomplete information. And the graph on the right, the bars graph, shows you the number of the total number of items assigned to your NGI in the system. So, for example, for NGI Portugal, the graph on the right shows me that in the system, there are 15 institutions registered in the system and assigned to my NGI. And there are 3 person contacts registered in the system and assigned to my NGI. The graph on the left, the 2 circular graphs show me that 7% of the institutes that are in the system have complete information. And the complete information for us is to capture the information which is on specific fields, which is the potential for EGI and interest in infrastructures. The circular graph on the left, on the bottom, regarding the person contacts, this one, shows me that 67% of the contacts assigned to my NGI have complete information, and 33% of the contacts assigned to my NGI have incomplete information. So my task as a NIL is to try to put these graphs all green, okay? To try to complete, first to validate the information which is inserted in the system, and then to complete the missing information. And how can I do that? So basically, on your home page, you have this icon, which is identified as an eye. And if you click on this icon, so you will be able to browse your specific NGI data. So if you do that, so you are redirected to a page like this. And this will provide you an hierarchical view of the data which is assigned to your NGI. So if you click on the plus sign, basically it expands and it shows all the categories of projects which we have in the system. Okay. Then if you expand a specific category, for example, the S3 projects, it will show all the projects, all the S3 projects for which there are NGI research institutes involved. So this snapshot here shows all the S3 projects for which there is a research institute in my country working under this project. Okay, so there is a much wider list of S3 projects, but this tool just shows the research projects for which the system knows there is some research institute working under that project. If I expand, if I click on the plus sign and I expand one specific project, basically it shows me the institutes working under that project. In my case, for the ASH3 project, European Multidisciplinary Seafloor Observation, I have 2 research institutes in my country working under that project. The projects, the research institutes can be shown in 2 colors. So if the research institute is shown in gray, it means that it has incomplete information. If it is shown, or basically gray means that the research institute is empty. So it just has some very general data, and we need more information regarding this institute. If the research institute is shown in blue, it means that it has some data inside. Okay, and nevertheless, you have to go there and try to see if that data is correct. So in the example below, so if I click on the plus sign, so it expands and it shows the data which is recorded in the system for that institute regarding the potential for EGI and the interest in infrastructures. For example, so this specific institute, so I recorded that basically it's the potential for EGI, it's the governmental body behind the Portuguese Grid Initiative, and the interest in infrastructure. So it's basically it is the funding agency, and in one of the key points is that it has some funding available for scientific research. So in this way, I try to provide here some textual information regarding the interest in infrastructure for this institute. Also, you can see here that this institute has a contact associated to it. Okay, and if I expand, so I will talk about the contacts later. So it has already a contact associated to this research institute. So the links, the symbols next to contacts or to the names of the research institutes or to the names of the projects are actual links to the CRM records. Okay, so if we click in one of those links, basically what is displayed is something like this. So you will be redirected to a record under the system with some a section with some general information, first section. A second section with the association of the organization to the research project where it is working, and the association is captured through the acronyms of the different projects. And then a section where we really want to capture let's say, the needs of this specific organization. Okay, for example, in this case, the organization has an empty potential for EGI and an empty interest in infrastructure, and this is exactly what the information we must provide to the system. To do that, basically, so we have this specific record with an empty information under this field, and to change that, basically we just have to edit the field. And when you click on the edit button, you enter in the editing mode, where you can change all the information associated to this organization. For example, in my case, so I've included here the website, which was missing. So I'm validating also the general information. So I've changed the account type because the account type was not really correct. Okay, I cross-checked the associations with the different projects this organization is working under, and I provided some textual information about what I think it's the potential for EGI of this organization and what could be the interest of this organization in infrastructures. And then I save the record. I hit save, and once you save, basically this is how the record is shown back to you with already a complete information regarding the potential for EGI and the interest in infrastructure fields. Now imagine that I have found a contact working under this organization, and I want to associate a person. I want to introduce in the system information about a person which is working under this organization. So when you are looking to an organization, so you have a tab here which shows you the organization information, and on the side you have another tab which is named as more information. And if you hit there, so it scrolls down several options, and one of the options is the contacts. So if you hit contacts, basically you are redirected to a kind of dashboard like the one which is showed below, where you are allowed to insert a contact connected to the organization you were previously seeing. And to do that, you just hit the add contact, and you are redirected to a record, to a form where you can introduce information about a given contact and create a contact record in the system. So in my case, so I have introduced also some general information regarding this contact. So basically the name, the role, so the email, the main organization is already introduced because the way you reach this point was through organization. So you are introducing a contact already working under a given organization. So this field is it's already pre-filled for you. And then what I want to do is simply to again provide information about what is the potential for EGI of this person contact, which could be a single researcher or a representative of a user community. What could be the interest in infrastructure of this contact, and let's say a basic description of this contact. And when you save, when you edit the fields and you save it, basically a new contact is added and associated to the research institute you were previously seeing. So, and it is displayed on the dashboard of the research institute you were seeing before. And if you go back to the hierarchical view, which is always available from your home page, now the institute which was previously shown has a gray institute, meaning that it was empty, because you have now filled the potential for EGI and the interest for infrastructure, and you have created a new contact under this institute, is no longer showed in gray, so it's already showed in blue, and you can directly check the information you introduced. Okay, so if you made a mistake and you want to correct something, so basically you just have to go again to the record, which is linked through the icons here. Okay, and you can do the same process again. Okay, edit the record, the organization record or the contact record, and edit the information there and save it again. So it's quite simple to do that. So this is exactly what I was saying. So the contact has before, so you can always contact our organizations. So they are linked through this hierarchical view, and you can directly access them and see the information which is stored under this record. Now, for the final part, I just want to again recall why do we need your help, and what we would kindly request the NILS to do. So going back to the home page, so the home page that we get when we enter in the system. Okay, again, so this gives you a customized view of the status of your NGI. Okay, and what is the picture that we want to achieve for each NGI? So basically, in the first step, we want you guys to assess, complete, and correct the information in the system for the organizations and the contacts which are already there under your NGI. So in the first step, for the information which is already there, we want you guys to go there and to check that it's correct information. Okay, it needs your stamp to validate it. Okay, and basically once you do that, all these circular graphs will turn to green. It means that all the information that we are expecting to be provided for the data in the system is already in the system, and basically your individual homepage will show that you have completed all the information that we are expecting from you. But on the second step, okay, we need to find more person contacts for the institutes working under your NGI. So as you can see, even for Portugal, so I have 15 institutes in the system, but I only have 3 person contacts. So I haven't been doing a very good job because I have not been able to find at least 1 person contact for each institute. And I have to try to increase this yellow bar. Okay, so it is my duty to try to increase this yellow bar, introduce more person contacts to which then I can go and talk to. Okay, or if I'm not able to satisfy the requirements of this specific contact, I can try to search in other NGIs if they have similar problems. Okay, so on this second step, I just want to try to increase this yellow bar, and so that it is higher, equal or higher than the number of institutes that I have assigned to my NGI. Okay, and there is a lot of potential in this in CRM, because you can see that there is a lot of information already inserted in the system that has to be completed. For example, so this graph, which is shown for all NILS, so you can see let's say the top 5 NGIs with more records associated to them, and there is a huge number of data there for several big NGIs. So, and that we want to get information from these NILS. We want to get information from these NGIs so that we can try to progress and get this wider landscape that Gergely was talking about in the beginning. So with this, so I've tried to make this tutorial very simple and very focused, and I just want to leave you some final remarks. So there are a couple more slides which I will not show, but which try to give you more information about how to work with CRM, on how to work with organizations. So something that we have not tackled here is, for example, how to create an organization from scratch. It's quite easy also, but we, in this tutorial or in this webinar, we just tackled how to change information of organizations which is already there. But on the next slide, you can see how simple it is to create an organization from scratch, and how to do multiple things with the records which are in the system. So how to list them, how to browse them, how to sort them, how to search based on different fields that have to be that are available for each of the records. So you can find all this information in the next slides. A very useful feature is also that you can export data from the CRM. So it can be something very useful for you. So you can export in CVS format data, which is assigned to your NGI or to other NGIs. So you can access all the information which is in the system, and you can export it for your own use, to work and to do a very different task with this data. And there is also the possibility to access, so the next slide will also show you how to access the very different metrics that we are trying to collect to the CRM. How many records do you have in the system? So when were they changed? Who changed them? So there is also some information on how to get, on how to query the system regarding the metrics that we are collecting. And we also have our wiki. So there is a wiki with more extensive information on how all of this can be done. And obviously, we are always welcome to receive your comments through the email which is displayed at the bottom of this page. So, and I think I will stop for now. So I hope I have provided you some technical details, very focused technical details, and on what is expected. Now I think we can open the floor for questions and discussion.
Thank you, Goncalo, for the overview. Just a final remark, I would like to remind everyone, the purpose of the CRM is not to build a yellow pages, a contact database. The purpose is to record findings about the infrastructure needs of projects. We can do that only if you record this information based on the personal contacts you talk to in your country. And based on these different individual discussions, we, the user community support team in Amsterdam, will summarize the information using the CRM system. So we depend on your work, and that's why we would like this process to start at the national level.